So welcome back to Dreamcatcher. So in motion in a straight line, the first topic is position, path length and displacement. Earlier you learned that the motion is change in position of an object with time. In order to specify position, we need to use a reference point, a set of axes. It is convenient to choose a rectangular coordinate system consisting of three mutually perpendicular axes labeled x, y, and z axis. The point of intersection of these three axes is called origin and serves as the reference point. The coordinates x, y, z in ordered pair of an object describe the position of an object with respect to the coordinate system. To measure time, we position a clock in the system. This coordinate system along with a clock consisting of a frame of reference. If one or more coordinate of an object changes with time, we say that the object is in motion. Otherwise, the object is said to be rest with respect to the frame of reference. The choice of a set of axes in a frame of reference depend upon the situation. For example, for describing motion in one dimension, we need only one axis. To describe motion in two or three dimensions, we need a set of two or three axes. Description of an event depends on the frame of reference chosen for the description. For example, when you say that the car is moving on the road, you are describing the car with respect to the frame of reference attached to you or the ground. But with respect to the frame of reference attached with the person sitting in the car is at rest. Okay. To describe motion along a straight line, we can choose an axis, say x-axis, so that coincide with the path of the object. We then measure the position of an object with the reference to a conveniently chosen origin. Okay. So an example of the path length is given. In that the distance is called the path length. Displacement, it is the change in position, or it is the shortest distance travelled. It is denoted by displacement has both magnitude and direction. Such quantities are represented as vectors. So the straight line motion, or it is called rectilinear motion, in one dimension there are two directions in two dimension, that is the backward and the forward, or upward and downward. So the displacement has magnitude positive, negative and 0. The magnitude of the displacement for a course of motion may be 0, but for the corresponding path is not 0. The motion of an object can be represented by a position time graph. We denote it as a straight line, say x-axis, varies with time, so it is the xt graph. If an object moves along a straight line, covers equal distance in equal interval of time, it is called uniform motion. Okay. Then in figure 3.2, the position time graph for a stationary body and object with a uniform motion. Then the position time graph of a car in 3.3. In 3.3, the average velocity and average speed. When an object is in motion, its position changes with time. The average velocity is defined as change in velocity or displacement divided by the time interval, delta x by delta t. Here the bar over the symbol for velocity is a standard notation used to indicate an average quantity. SI unit of velocity is meter per second, although kilometer per hour is used in everyday application. Like displacement, average velocity is also a vector quantity. It can be taken care by positive, negative, and also zero. So in average velocity as defined above involve only the displacement of an object. Then to describe the rate of motion over the actual path, we introduce another quantity called average speed. Average speed is defined as the total path length traveled divided by the total time interval during the motion. Average speed has obviously the same unit meter per second as that of the average velocity. Then, if the motion of an object is along a straight line in the same direction, the magnitude of the displacement is equal to the total path length. In this case, the average velocity is equal to average speed. In some cases, the average speed is not equal to the magnitude of the average velocity. This happened because the motion here involved the change in direction, so that the path length is greater than the magnitude of the displacement. Shown, speed in general is greater than the magnitude of the velocity. So 3.5, it's acceleration. During Galileo's time, it was believed that the rate of change of velocity with distance, but Galileo concluded that the rate of change of velocity with time is the constant of motion for an object in free fall. On the other hand, the change in velocity with distance is not constant. It decreases with increase in the distance of fall. This led to the concept of acceleration as the rate of change of velocity with time. An average acceleration a bar over a time interval is defined as a change of velocity divided by the time interval. A bar is equal to v2 minus v1 divided by t2 minus t1 is equal to delta v by delta t. v2 and v1 are the instantaneous velocities or simply velocities at time t2 and t1. It is the average change of velocity per unit time. The SI unit is meter per second square. On a plot of velocity versus time, the average acceleration is the slope of the straight line. Okay, so instantaneous acceleration is defined in the way as the instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous acceleration is defined as the same as the instantaneous velocity. A limit delta t tends to 0, delta v by delta t, that is dv by dt. dv by dt is A. The acceleration at any instant is the slope of the tangent to the vt curve at an instant. So, since velocity is a quantity having both magnitude and direction, a change in velocity may involve either or both of these factors. Acceleration is therefore may result from the change in speed, a change in the direction of, or change in both. Like velocity, acceleration can be positive, negative, or zero. The position time graph for motion with positive, negative, and zero acceleration are also shown in text 3.9. Acceleration can vary with time. Only study in this chapter will be restricted to the motion with constant acceleration. A bar is equal to v minus v naught divided by t minus 0, that is v is equal to v naught plus at. Then let us see how velocity time graph looked like for some simple cases. An object is moving with a positive direction with negative acceleration, and an object moving with a negative direction with a negative acceleration, and that positive direction then turn back with the same negative acceleration. Okay. The interesting feature of a velocity time graph for a moving object is that the area under the curve represents the displacement over the time interval. Then note that the xt, vt, at graph shown in several figures in this chapter have sharp kicks at some point, implying that the functions are not differentiable at this point. In any realistic situation, the function will not differentiable at all points and the graph will be smooth. What this means physically is that acceleration and velocity cannot change value at an instant. Changes are always continuous. Changes are always continuous. So 3.6 kinematic equation for the uniformly accelerated motion. V is equal to u plus at. So the area under the velocity time curve for an object with uniform acceleration. So V is equal to u plus at. From that we derived A is equal to V minus u by t. From that we derived at. V is equal to V naught plus at. Then the three important equations are P is equal to V naught plus at, x is equal to V naught t plus half at square, and v square is equal to V naught square plus 2ax. So these are connecting five quantities V naught, V, A, T and x. That it can be used for motion with non-uniform acceleration also. So the advantage of using that the question is the example in 3.3 and obtain an equation of motion for constant acceleration using the method of calculus. And this method is advantage, that is what I have said, that it can be used for motion with non-uniform acceleration. Okay, so then if the magnitude of the acceleration due to gravity is neglected, the object is said to be free fall. If the height through which the object falls is small compared to the earth radius, g can be taken to be constant. If the height through which the object falls is small compared to the earth's radius, the g can be taken to be constant. The free fall is thus a case of motion with uniform acceleration. We assume that the motion y direction, more correctly negative y direction, because we choose upward direction as positive. Since acceleration due to gravity is always downwards, it is a negative direction. Okay, so there is 3.1 where motion of an object under free fall in the variation of the acceleration with time for free fall, the acceleration variation of velocity with time, the distance with the time for free fall. Okay, then reaction time. When the situation demands our immediate action, it takes some time before we really respond. Reaction time is the time a person takes to observe, think and act. Observe, think and act. If a person is driving and suddenly a boy appears on the road, then the time elapsed before he slaps the brakes of the car is the reaction time. For example, if a person is driving and suddenly a boy appears on the road, then the time elapsed before he slaps the brake of the car is the reaction time. Reaction time depends on the complexity of the situation and not on the individual. Okay. Then, so those are only the important points, that is the position, path length and displacement, average velocity and average speed, acceleration, and also the kinematic equation for uniformly accelerated motion. that is 3.2, 3.3, 3.5 and 3.6. So thank you and have a nice day. Keep on studying and yeah, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe.